Hey folks, today is Monday, March 24th. It is 24th already. Wow, it is 5:21 p.m. and I'm here in the Path Network just around the corner from St. Andrew Station. I just finished recording a live stream. And I popped in here to use the facility and take a little break. You can enter the subway station just over there. And just up this way is the intersection of University Avenue and King Street. And it was raining when I made my way in here about 10-15 minutes ago. But it seems to have let up, fortunately. Let's look into the financial district. I'm not sure why I'm crossing the street going north here, as my plan is to head over to Simcoe Street. I'm going to walk south down into the southcore district. And then we will walk down to Harbour Street, and from there it'll be east along pretty much the entire length of Harbour Street over to Yonge, and then I'll head north and find my way probably to Union Station. I was just at a protest that's going on north of here, opposite the U.S. consulate. And you can see that in my live stream. And Charlie Angus, a well-known figure, made an appearance. He was nice enough to subject himself to a mini interview with me on the stream. And we also got a selfie together. He's a former musician. Well, he might still be a musician and a MP from Northern Ontario, as well as an author. And he's been making a lot of appearances on the Midas Touch Network lately in support of Canada's sovereignty. I posted that selfie we took on my Instagram account if you're curious to see that. So this is Simcoe Street coming up, so I'm going to make a left here.
And he can't get his money into the market.
If we are, is this his swan song speech? If it's not, what is it? You know, where are we shining?
Some extremely loud phone talking going on. I don't think I've ever shouted my conversation on a public street into my phone for everyone to hear, but some people, I guess, don't realize you don't have to raise your voice so much. There's Roy Thompson Hall and the CN Tower in the background. Maybe that's why I crossed over to this side of the street, just to get this view. And there's St. Andrew's Church. And there's a number of fire trucks, it looks like, in front of the TD Center. Not sure what's going on over there. They were there about 20 minutes ago. This is the entertainment district. But Harbour Street is only about, I think, a kilometer to a kilometer and a half in length. It's not that long. And there's a parking garage that was quite an eyesore that is being demolished. I'm not sure where they are in the demolition. That was about half torn down a few weeks back. So we'll see the status of that. This is Wellington Street coming up. Wellington Street West. Either Wellington or Simcoe Street have as much pedestrian traffic as most major streets around the financial and entertainment districts. I think there's just less stuff on them. There's a 47-story office tower that's recently gone up. And that unfortunately blocks the once famous view of the CN Tower from King and Bay. TD Bank and the Ontario Teachers' Pension are the primary tenants. And it sits across the street from what used to be the tallest building in this immediate vicinity, Simcoe Place. That one's around 500 feet tall. That used to dominate this part of the skyline, but it's since been dwarfed. And this building's got a really neat LED set of lighting going on at night. I quite like what it adds to the skyline. As we make our way to Front Street West. There's the Metro Toronto Convention Centre, where last weekend Comic-Con took place. And a few weeks before that was the Toronto Auto Show. Might have been a little more than a few weeks before it. Oh, there's an up express train going to the airport. Union Station is not too far east of here. But before 2009, this walk wouldn't have been possible in this direction. This underpass here was plugged up. It reconnected Front Street with the southcore. There was a similar underpass that was carved out at Dufferin and Queen Street that also had a rail corridor overhead. And there's Indigenous art in this walk walkway, and there's 28 portraits of indigenous figures on that side. I think we're going to spend maybe even more time on Simcoe Street in this walk than Harbour Street. Oh well. It's worth noting, south of Front Street, Simcoe becomes Lower Simcoe. There's a Delta Hotel on the left. Olympic Park just on the right. And view up at the CN Tower. The Sky Dome is, of course, right at the base on the western side of the CN Tower. There's another major sports venue just to the left here at Bremner, the Scotiabank Arena, home to the Leafs and Raptors. This is the Southcore district. There's a look with Scotiabank Arena looming in the background. There's an old roundhouse with a steam whistle brewery. A large entertainment center there. And the CN Tower with Ripley's Aquarium down below. But this whole area south of Front Street didn't even exist for much of the 1800s. Between 1918 and I think the late 1930s, the shoreline was extended a considerable distance south. A lot of the original piers and ports were lost with the large land reclamation project. There's some of the more notorious Airbnb condos in the city, the ICE condos. But it's only in recent years that this area has developed into a bit of a community on its own. The Southcore was always severed from the area to the north by the rail corridor, and things like Simcoe Street there being blocked off between Bremner and Front Street. So it's a good thing that's recently opened. And in the early 2000s, a number of condos started sprouting up in the area, including the Water Club condos straight ahead. Those were some of the first to kick off a major building boom. Congestion. What congestion? We got 26 seconds. As we cross Lakeshore Boulevard. And it started to rain again. Lake Ontario is just to the south of here. This is where Harbour Street begins. With something I hate more than anything, a multi-use trail. There should be a bike lane and pedestrian walkway separately. Bikes and people shouldn't mix. There's a development going in here where an 8-story parking garage and well-known eyesore is being demolished. I think there's a couple of towers moving in at 41 and 71 stories. I think the original plans, as covered on an oldie urbanity video, was for a trio of towers and a lot more housing, but due to NIMBY pressures, the development was scaled back tremendously. In a city that needs more housing, especially in an area like this that's ripe for development. This is York Street coming up. Making sure the camera lens is all clear. It looks pretty clear. Sometimes some rain can get on there and really fog it up. Pretty neat lighting going on with the sky and the ground being wet. There's One York, which was supposed to be home to a Target after their failed expansion into Canada. They pulled out of that project. And the Second City, which got booted from their home just north of here in the entertainment district on Mercer Street, was left homeless for a while. They're operating out of the comedy, I forget the name, comedy bar on Danforth for a while, but they've moved in to a big, nice theater in that building. A lot of big names in comedy have springboarded their careers thanks to the Second City. Love Park, which hasn't yet filled up its big pond. I'm debating if I should pull my umbrella out. The camera's getting covered in rain, but the lens seems to be okay. There's a big Winners in there. And the Second City, of course. And another universe. Perhaps Target didn't screw up their inventory system. And their launch into Canada was successful. Oh, there's an Impact Kitchen here. Get yourself a super healthy, but very expensive meal at that place. I had a steak bowl from the one that opened in Midtown, and it came to be like $26, which for a takeout meal is a little rich for my blood. That was pretty good. There's Kintan Ramen. There's a mix of office towers and condos mostly now in the southcore. It used to be old industrial and commercial use buildings and parking lots. In fact, I remember there being a place where when they would tow your car, they would bring it here, an old impound lot. There is the Harbour 60. It's a steakhouse in Toronto. That's in the old Harbour Commission building. And when that was built in 1917, that sat right on the water's edge. So where I am now would have been the lake. I haven't been there in a very long time, but it's one of the more well-known and highly regarded steakhouses in the city. Let's look at the financial district off in the distance. And this is Bay Street. I think these bike lanes appeared around 2018. This is one of the streets that has really transformed in recent years. It used to be an on and off ramp to the Gardner Expressway at York Street, where Love Park is. And this was mostly just a road people would take to cut across this part of the city going east to west. It still is, but well, there's condos and office towers all along it. It's still a little gray for my liking. Could definitely be more greenery. It's just got a bit of a cold and sterile feeling to it, but there's certainly much better use of the land than there used to be. And it's connected to the path network. There's the Weston Harbour. Oh, I missed my chance to cross the street here. There's Firkin on Harbour. I went to a Firkin Saturday night in Midtown, the Fox. That's one that's themed to the London Underground. I had a really good sandwich there. I had a Reuben. You told me I was in Montreal eating that, I would have believed you. Other than the fact that I obviously wasn't. And there is one of the two tallest buildings in the city rising. That's the Sky Tower at Pinnacle 1. And its initial height was 1,025 feet. I think they've applied for an amendment to build it higher, but that's one of a series of buildings in that complex. So it'll also be 865, 709, 492, and 322 feet. And originally, the old Toronto Star building there was supposed to be reclad and have a few floors added to it. And I don't think those plans are in the works anymore. We've made it to Yonge Street, so that is all she wrote for Harbour Street. It just becomes an on-ramp. Over there, or a road that'll connect you over to Jarvis. It's more like it. But we're just gonna go north up to Front Street, and then I'm gonna pop into Union Station. is Lakeshore Boulevard. We're trying to jump on the westbound Gardner Expressway. There's 1 King West straight ahead. The street here on the right is one I'll have to revisit soon. That's the Esplanade. It runs through the St. Lawrence neighborhood. Gonna say don't walk in a second, but I think we can safely ignore that. There's a look east along the Esplanade, a Flatiron style building at the Novotel. And that gate is blowing wide open. This used to be where the bus terminal was, which moved into CIBC Square. There's a new CIBC Square tower. Here's completion. This is Front Street. There's the Hockey Hall of Fame. So we're going to walk directly into the sun here and challenge this camera's exposure capabilities. Alongside the old Dominion building just on the left, which kind of uniquely curves around with Front Street here. That sun is giving us a direct hit. This is Bay Street. I'm just going to cross the street, wrap this one up, and pop into Union Station. I'm going to make my way north up to Yonge and Eglinton, pick up some dinner on the way home. Oopsie, there's someone who entered the intersection when they weren't supposed to. There's a look at the southcore. It's been an interesting day for the sky. It's blue and cloudy, the good kind of clouds over there. It's a little bit overcast in that direction. Don't have those new permanent barriers up yet. Oh, Mr. Seagull or Miss Seagull. Don't really know how to tell them apart, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. If you wish to support what I do on YouTube, there's links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership down in the description. I've got an Instagram account at Johnny Strides, and there is a super thanks button appearing down below if you wish to say thanks that way. Anyways, I'm going to go back to staring at our new seagull friend. But thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, and I will catch you on the next one. Yoink.